We talk about so many topics here. We really, I feel like, are just expansive in the way that we are able to share stories, share information, share experiences, etc. And so I know that you guys have, inquisitiveness around these things, and I know that you guys always have questions for me. So I said, let's do it. Let's dust off a DMT episode and give the people a voice. DMT, we're serving it.
All right. First question. Just sending love. How are you holding up?
So, I know that this question is in response to the attack on Amanda. It's literally like Sharknado, but just like with like black media. And I'm glad I can laugh about it. And I can laugh about it because I have a good psychiatrist and because I'm surrounded by people who know me and who are emotionally intelligent enough to be able to show me love. And also because of viewers like you. First of all, going viral is very surreal because it's like happening outside of you. It's like a very thing. We have a whole episode about it coming up. But I think that we've really gotten to a point where people just do not realize that they're dealing with real people. When they deal with people that are on the internet or just people that have a certain level of visibility, celebrity, like they just think that they're like not real people. And because of that, then they don't feel the need to treat them like humans. So if we put this in the context of Palestinians, the effort, and we can put this in the context of the Jewish people of the Holocaust in Germany, the effort to make their murders, acceptable first began with dehumanizing them. Even just the idea of Palestine and them trying to say that it was a valid invasion of Palestine that happened in 1948. They tried to say that there was no culture there. There was nothing there. They civilized Palestine. All that is a lie. But that is a tool. It's a tactic. The dehumanization of people is a tactic that has been used on many scales to then make the degradation of them okay. Now, on a much, 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 much infinitively smaller scale, it's like, oh, well, if we just dehumanize these celebrities or whatever and make it like they're not valuable or they're not like alive human beings, then we can just say whatever the hell we want about them and we don't have to have a conscience about it. We don't have to have a conscience about it. And once people decide that they don't need to have a conscience, they get wild. The human being as an animal is really, really not okay. And will go to the ends of the earth if it lets it, if it lets itself in terms of wickedness. We've seen so many examples of this. So I just say that to say that you got to ask yourself how you interact on this internet and think about like people's humanity. I'm doing okay because there's enough people around me in my circle that care about my humanity more than they care about my celebrity, et cetera, et cetera. And I've had to go through a lot in my life to learn that I need to put my humanity first before I care about any of that other shit either. So thank you for asking.
Next question. What do you do when you feel hopeless? How do you center yourself and regain strength?
That's a really great question because I didn't have an answer for that before last week. I feel like what I would do when I was hopeless in the past was just like hope for it to pass. And I didn't have like an active, necessarily like measured or like strategic practice on how to deal with that. Again, like I'm fortunate that I have people around me who I can talk to. So that becomes a part of that. But it really was something that I learned last week was that I really have to unplug. And the thing about unplugging is sometimes we think of unplugging as like, oh, I got to go to vacation, right? Or I got to like change locations. But for the first time, maybe ever, I consciously just like put my brain on ice and just like watched movies and TV and ate snacks and let myself just be. And it proved to be very effective in allowing my brain the pause that it needed from being just in a loop around the madness. And sometimes it's around the hopelessness that we find our brain is in a loop, right? We keep going in a loop of trying to figure out what a solution is and we can't find it and then it feels hopeless. Right now, there's a hopelessness that I have just every day as it relates to not only what's going on in Gaza and in Congo and the Sudan, but the way the world is dealing with it. Just watching the mendacity, just the waterfall of that goes down on a daily basis. You're just like, what, is this really where we are? And so there is a hopelessness around that I definitely am still trying to deal with. I mean, I went on Lexapro, which I had never really considered going on medication for mental health before. But I have a theory. I feel like we are in a world now that is so processed and is manufacturing so much that it is now also manufacturing hate. It literally creates hate from out of thin air. And there's so much hurt and trauma that hasn't been dealt with. And baby, all of that energy exists. Just so we're clear, energy is a real thing. It's like when you stand next to a piano and you can feel the sound of the piano hitting you. That's energy. When you in a room and someone walks in the room and it just rubs you the wrong way, that's energy. Now, by the way, that energy might be your energy. The rubbing the wrong way might be the fact that your energy is off. So I just want to say that. But energy is a real thing. We are combusting. We are made of atoms, y'all. We are an engine that is always combusting. Your heart beating is an engine. Like when you look at a car engine, it's the same as a body. All of these pieces need to work together to make this thing move. So we are in a world where the energy is so processed with hate and mendacity and just negative things that some of our spirits literally can't process the energy. It's like being diabetic and not being able to process sugar. You need insulin to help you do that because you physically cannot. I think some of us are ending up on meds because we spiritually cannot process the energy that is existing right now or that ever was existing. And I think that's a real thing that I've had to admit to myself. Like, I simply just cannot process it. My spirit, my soul cannot break it down in order to be something valuable to me. And so I need help.
Next question. On a bit of a lighter note, how are you so fly? And when and how did your love of bonobos begin?
Oh my God, two great questions. How am I so fly? My mom is fly. Like, my mom has always been like super duper stylish. Like, that's really her thing. And then she always had me stylish. But then I was I had a tough road for a while there, y'all. I was wearing platform Skechers. I just had every color Kangol you can think of. I mean, there was an awkward phase that lasted far longer than it should have. But, you know, I would say around my 30s, I started to figure it out. And I had a stylist tell me, you know, Amanda, you're an artist. And I talk about this in my book, Small Doses, available in hardback, paperback, and on audiobook. I had a stylist tell me, you know, Amanda, you're a painter. And if you looked at your body as the canvas, you would be able to style yourself. And that was something I had never considered. Like, I'm really, really good with color. So she was basically telling me, like, you're really good with color. You're a painter. You know how to put color together. Like, bring that together in how you dress. And that just opened up a whole world for me in terms of like how I put style together. And it took some time. But now I really know what my style is. My style is basically, can a regular pull this off? Like, that's basically my style. If it can't be pulled off by just anybody, give it up. I want it. I'm challenging myself. I just remember my friend Mike Walker in high school. He had these green Adidas, and we always used to clown these green Adidas because they were just so big. Like, his feet were so big. And we were like, why did you buy these? He's like, because they're so ugly. Look at how ugly these shoes are. He's like, Amanda, these are the ugliest shoes ever. And I just felt like, you know what? I can bring joy to these ugly shoes. It's a challenge. Sometimes I will literally buy something because I'm just like, this is so ugly, it deserves love. Like, I wish I didn't do that with like the spirit of I date, but that's, you know, it's a work. It's a work in progress.
Yikes.
I mean, you know, I can't be a SEAL, but y'all could be a member of the SEAL squad. We do this essentially every week on the bonus episode of Small Doses Podcast. You guys can be in the live asking questions in real time. And even if you can't be there, you still get access to the episode. So that's been a really cool space, all my SEAL squad members. So shout out to all my SEALs.